Hello YouTube land, my name is KestalKayden and we are playing Minecraft. Today we are going to be going over a mod spotlight on Reis Minimap. As you can see I have it in my top corner, and as you can see I use it in all of my gameplays on Minecraft. It is a great mod and I suggest that you get it. I do have a bit of a tutorial on how to install it. It will be under my mod loader Optifine and Reis Minimap combination. It is still relevant and it is still useful for you. Keep in mind that this is a mod spotlight, so we're going to be just jumping right in. To activate the main Reis Minimap part, all you have to do is press M, and here you have your main interface. So let's go over some of the main things. You can change the render type from surface to biome to cave. Cave is actually kind of useful, especially underground obviously. Surface is the one that I usually like to keep. Biome, I mean, that could be useful too. But, I mean, surface is the one that you'll want. First and foremost, you should enable your death point. So anytime that you die, it'll create a waypoint. Awesome. Before we go into the main details, we're actually going to talk about waypoints really quickly. So, that's how you actually go into it. There's a waypoints button right here. Click on it. Let's say you want to add a waypoint. You click on add. Let's say you want to go home. This will be your home. As you know, I do not like using regular maps. I consider Reis Minimap something that should be included in Minecraft by default, just for simplicity's sake. And I mean, if I go out of the range on my minimap, you'll see that it turns into an arrow pointing in the general direction, which is nice. It's very nice. And you can color code these, which makes it even easier. Let's say you want to make your home a nice blood red. You can do that. If you find it through it, there you go. Not exactly the right color, but close enough, right? Right. So let's say you don't want to live here anymore and you want to live over somewhere over there, you want to explore. All you have to do then is again go to Waypoints, click on Remove, and then click on Keep, which will now highlight it with an X, and then hit Remove. It's a little confusing, but once you get used to it, it is awesome. So that is that. Alternatively, you can hit the C key to create waypoints. I like going in through the menu system for some reason, but that's just me. I'd rather not have to learn so many shortcuts. Anyway, moving along, before we get into the details again, hit the X key. This will bring up a giant map for you. And it will stay on your screen until you hit the X key once more. So let's say I want to head over to these weird looking structures right here. These are from a previous tutorial of mine, and I figured, hey, why not? It's here, and you can actually see where it is on the main minimap, which is nice. Imagine this on an online server. You can definitely notice a lot of stuff, which is really, really cool and really, really useful. Anyways, now that that is done, let's head over to the minimap options. You can change various settings here, like making it round and or square. I prefer the square just so the map itself locks into place. I don't want to have to keep reorientating myself on which direction I should be going, so that's just me. However, if you are a fan of the MMO, you can actually set it like this, which is nice. So we're heading back to square. I'm not sure why I got out of that. Anyway, the texture pack. There's a few different texture packs. Well, actually one extra texture pack called the Zan Minimap. I do prefer Reis, so that's as good as it gets. You can change the position. You can change the size. It is all there. You can even change the map opacity if you don't want anything directly in your way. And I mean, I like to play around with this. I don't like to keep it on as a default, so do play around with it. You might be able to find different settings that you, in fact, prefer. So other than that, I mean, there are some things you can go through. Filtering basically sharpens it off, or sorry, it kind of smooths it out. If you disable filtering, you might not be able to see it, but it definitely sharpens the image on the map itself. I like to keep it a little fuzzy. It's just the way it is. I don't know what it is about me, but you can also change the types of coordinates that you get, or even just disable them. I prefer to keep them on the screen. You can disable your menu key. Once you get used to Reis Minimap, you can just disable that setting. As you can see, it's a reminder. And I mean, I don't need it. You can also change the size of this, etc., etc. I mean, it's all there. You can also change the default zoom of the main big map, which is nice. The rest of the stuff I'd actually not worry about. But yes, you can zoom in on your main minimap using the Z or Z key, depending on where you're from. And I usually like to keep it at 1 times, sometimes, you know, at 50%, but it's there if you need it. Going next, surface map. You can change the different types of lighting that you see. I like to keep it dynamic. Lighting types there are two different ones. I like to also keep it type 1 because that really shows off the torches, which is useful underground. You can change a whole bunch of options here, although I wouldn't even really worry about it. The only one I'd probably worry about enabling is show chunk grid if it's not enabled by default. That is useful, especially online. Anyways, next and foremost, NTD's radar, one of my favorites. As soon as you enable it, guess what? You have a whole bunch of stuff on your screen. Actually, I'm also going to enable slimes now that I see those. Okay, so what do we have here? The more opaque that it is, the closer to your height that it is. So as you can see, we have a couple of things here, and that's because they are opaque on the screen. As you can see, the higher up I go, the more transparent or translucent they become, which is, you know, it makes sense. Let's head over to an area with lots of monsters. Actually, I created a hole before, so looks like this is actually pretty good. Let's drop right down. As you can see, now that I'm closer to the level of these monsters, they show up a lot more solid. As you can see by this creeper who's just checking things out. So we are exiting that area. It is fine. And let's see. We have actually quite a few things on here, which is actually really nice. So it's all right there for you guys. I mean, I'd really keep the marker stuff pretty much by itself. It should just remain there. Another thing, if you really want this, I believe only works in single player, you can enable slime chunks to see where the slimes will spawn in said chunks, which is kind of useful. This pretty much goes over the basics of Reis Minimap. I mean, it's a really good mod. If you haven't installed it, learn how and install it. If you guys want, I can create another tutorial or even just another video giving out my client, which has, you know, your Optifine, your Reis Minimap, etc., etc. Leave comments down below if you have any questions about Reis Minimap. I will happily answer them. That's pretty much it for this mod spotlight. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I hope you guys found this beneficial. This has been KestalKayden. If you know, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel if you love me. And until next time, keep modding.